Okay, we are back from closed session and we move on to item number 4. Going to be our correspondence. Do we have any correspondence to?
It's all listed online.
Okay. And we'll move to public comment. Prior to public comment, I'd like to say at this point, the agenda the board welcomes comments on matter of district interest. The board will listen but cannot engage in discussion or take action on items not listed on the agenda. All public comment will be limited to 3 minutes, a limit of approximately 45 words in written comment. You may not cede any remaining time to another speaker. We ask that public observers in the room remain respectful and do not interrupt the individual giving public comment, because this is the time for the board to listen, and it is very difficult to do so if there are multiple individuals speaking at the same time. As board president, I will maintain the order of this meeting and may issue warnings of removal or disruptive individuals. Board would appreciate if you were, as you're here, if you will please state your name and where you live. When called to speak, please state your name and I will let you know when your 3 minutes begins. Okay. We have a list of speakers first.
We have some. Is there a stock of those?
No, I haven't received them.
You want to bring those? You have.
Does anybody have any more requests to speak forms? No.
Right here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. You have a timer?
I can time.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you can time.
Do you want me to time?
No.
I've got it.
Susan, do you want to wait to 9.3 to speak on that item? Okay. We'll go ahead and have you speak first then. Or we can wait till 9.3. Okay.
President Schuler and trustees. Cayucos School's administrative past has run the gamut from having the superintendent principal to a full-time superintendent and a full-time principal to a superintendent we share with another district with a full-time principal. As somebody who taught here for 35 years, I have experienced each of these scenarios. The superintendent principal seemed to work the best even when the enrollment was as high as 325 students. It appears as though the current search is setting up to be for a superintendent only. Why would we advertise for a full-time position for a part-time job? I think it's time we all think outside this box we put ourselves in and do something to promote education. Like I said before, I propose that we learn from our past and return to a combined superintendent principal with perhaps an assistant principal who could also double as a foreign language teacher or in some other way enrich the educational experience Cayucos has to offer. Parents have asked for this for many years. There's no need to rush. The county can provide you with the time to make a wise choice while we all strive to get it right this time. Time isn't our enemy. Getting this wrong is. Also, please don't leave the stakeholders out of this process. Nothing good ever comes of that. Thank you.
And then John Curdy.
Evening. In the spirit of full transparency and to clear up any misconceptions on how Superintendent Smith came to receive a $20,000 a year raise, I have a few questions for the board that I and I think many other citizens would like to get answers to. These are the questions. Number one, did the board meet to discuss the possibility of a raise prior to then President Castillo approaching Coast Unified about offering Mr. Smith a raise? And if so, were any figures discussed? If the board did meet, did they authorize President Castillo to approach Coast Unified about offering Mr. Smith a raise? And did the board give him authority to offer any figures? If the board did not have any discussions about offering Mr. Smith a raise prior to then President Castillo approaching Coast, were they aware of Mr. Castillo's approach of Coast and any amounts that were discussed. If there was no authorization by the board to approach Coast, then Mr. Castillo had no authority to make such an offer. If then President Castillo did not have authorization to make an offer, it would appear any offer would be invalid, since Coast voted to approve the raise before Cayucos did, if Castillo's initial offer was not approved by the Coast board. If then President Castillo made the offer on his own and either intentionally misled Coast by saying the Cayucos board had authorized these discussions, or neglected to say that this was his idea and had not been discussed or approved by the Cayucos board, again, this would appear not to be a legitimate offer. If these questions cannot or will not be answered, in my opinion, the board has failed to exercise an appropriate level of oversight, responsibility, and transparency, and has failed the students and citizens of Cayucos. Based on this failure, in my opinion, the appropriate remedy is a vote of no confidence for this board, with those up for election this year to be voted out of the office, and for others not up for re-election this cycle to be removed through a recall election.
Time's
I
up.
think it's pretty simple. Answer the questions.
Thank you, Mr. Curry. Okay. We have anybody else for public comment? Review of minutes, February 9 and February 25. Everybody have a chance to look at those? To approve,
I'll make a motion. We approve the meeting minutes of February 9th, 2022.
I'll second.
Trustee Castillo,
Aye.
trustee Wright, trustee Brownell, trustee Schuler,
Aye.
trustee Dial.
Aye.
Motion to approve minutes for February 25.
I'll make a motion. We approve the special meeting minutes of February 25th, 2022.
I'll second.
Trustee Castillo,
Aye.
trustee Dial,
Aye.
trustee Brownell, trustee Schuler,
Aye.
trustee Wright.
We'll move on to presentations. Do we have anything from the Associated Student Body?
Good evening, board. ASB announcements tomorrow or Friday. We have a sort of a pre-spring dance for the middle school here in the gym, and our very own Miss Pepley is our DJ extraordinaire. She's preparing the music for the dance. We have a Zooty U assembly coming up, and of course it's Dress Like an Animal Day. You're welcome to join us if you'd like. Remember, it was Tuesday when it was February 22nd, 2022. We had some activities going on, and we had the three-legged races, which were really fun. The kids paired up, and we had some really funny videos. I'd love to show them, but we don't have them. But it was really fun. All the kids, grade by grade, we had winners. We had three-legged race runoffs, and it was really fun. It was fun to see them all giggling and laughing and dragging themselves across the finish line, or crawling, which was quite the technique, actually. Our middle school students recently, we get to celebrate the kids who had fabulous GPAs and really good behavior. The kids went down to Boomers, did some go-karting and some mini golf, and probably some game playing, and had a great lunch, and they had a good time. When they got back, they were all had smiles on their faces, and it's fun to celebrate how well they're doing in school. So we also had our very first flagpole of the year. So that was really nice. On Monday, we gathered over here on the playground. Usually we do it over there by the flagpole, but we brought our flag out and had our first flagpole to celebrate citizenship and kids doing really great things. We actually had we discovered 3 certificates from the day that one of the teachers had printed it for the following Monday when we closed school. So we were able to celebrate 3 kids from 2 years ago on Monday. And so it was surprising. It was kind of fun. Their big eyes came out. But things are going great with ASB. Victoria's doing a fine job with the kids. Pretty soon they'll be doing their elections for ASB. So there'll be probably some signs running around, and they'll be doing some speeches to run for office. It'll be fun. You probably want the PTA next.
Thank you.
Roberta, what do you think?
Good evening. My name is Roberta Held. I'm this year's PTA Vice President, and we have our monthly meetings the day before you have your monthly school board meeting. So just last night, we had our meeting, and of interest, the things that were discussed are that we will be doing a fun run this year. The past few years, we've been using an outside company called Apex to do the fun run, and they've done a great job for us. This year, the PTA has decided to take a little different route and go back to organizing and planning for the fun run on our own. So the fun run is scheduled for May the 4th. It will be here at the school. It will be during school hours, and it will be a color run. One of the parents brought up the idea of a color run. So chalk dust is thrown on the kids. I can imagine they're gonna have a ball with that. And Martin and Ishmael will not be that happy, but it will be good fun. And that is one of 2 fundraisers that we do each year. We do, of course, the silent auction during the fall carnival, and then we also do the fun run as our second fundraiser, and that's how we fund field trips and all the things Mr. Way asked for, et cetera. We have experimented this year with partnering with a local restaurant, Oceanfront Pizza in Cayucos, and we've done 2 now, fundraising evenings where if you order a pizza and you mention that you're affiliated with PTA, Oceanfront Pizza gives back 20% to the PTA. The first time we did it was about 3 months ago, I guess, and we made $250 was the PTA's cut, which is great for us. And this time, I'm glad to say that the community supported us and even more, and people are probably more familiar with it. So we brought in $340 this time, which is great for us. And that's about all we have going on. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Is anybody here from the Health and Safety Committee? That'd be you.
I have some notes from Nurse Nessa. She's the chairwoman of the safety board. So there was a safety concern regarding access to the main building that was put forth. We don't have a ramp into the main building from an accessible location during school while the gates are locked. So it's not a new issue. We have looked at it before. I know that Ishmael and Martin, Scott, previous superintendents also looking at it because it needs to be at a certain angle for people to be able to use the ramp. So we'll have to be looking at, it's probably a long-term project, DSA probably, as of course. So they're looking at some, Safety is also looking at a motorized stair climbing dolly, but we're afraid it would be inconvenient and not be used anyway. The safety committee gathering, which they usually have with all of the schools in the county, has been canceled. So our safety committee will be gathering together. We'll be doing a walk on the bluffs and then going to have lunch on the 8th. So they can get together just like they would, normally during a regular year. Safety is also looking about putting possibly more lighting around campus. So, which is probably a good idea if you're wandering around, at nighttime. Because it gets dark at certain times of the year. So we need to see where we're going. School just in time for daylight savings, exactly. The school testing regarding COVID testing that's free from the state has slowed down as cases have declined. We still have plenty of testing available for staff and students, so we still have plenty of tests here on campus. We have several boxes actually, so in case we have any kind of increase again, we can still continue to test the kids and the teachers. What else? They're looking at a company to give an estimate for possibly redoing the playground down on the lower field, but that's a big project, so we'll be looking into that as a school, not necessarily the safety committee. It'll be a big project. And that's all. Nessa does a nice job gathering that group and putting things together. She can take a breath now, but we kind of don't have we don't have any cases right now. So she can kind of take a breath and relax and go back in the classrooms and do some health things. So sexual education is coming up for her, and she's excited. The kids are excited. They don't have to run the mile on Wednesdays. The next big piece. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we'll go to information discussion. We have the LCAP.
Yeah, so Liz went ahead and met with PTA regarding LCAP. And so her and I worked on a PowerPoint together, and that's that. The last year we did year 1 of the new cycle. So this will just be an update this year in the cycle. So it'll be year 2 of the cycle. The important parts of the LCAP are that we demonstrate legally how we provide increased services for our unduplicated students. And that's the critical part of the LCAP. Because we're not an LCFF district, we're a basic aid district. We get our revenue from tax base instead of from the state. So the rest of the LCAP isn't as important as it would be in an LCFF district. It is always important, but we fund, our interventions through the LCAP. But technically, all of that money comes out of the general fund because we are not an LCFF district. But we are required to demonstrate those increased services, and that's where we legally comply with that, is in the LCAP. So I'm starting to work on getting a new one put together for June, so we can move into year 2 with an updated LCAP. And I think Liz probably has some input for me on that. So that's all I got on that right now.
We're going to be having another meeting to go over some of that information. So we have input for the next one as well, but also this old one. So it's kind of short. So we went into just the summary of the LCAP. So there were some questions. So we're going to have another meeting so we can kind of sit around a table and have some of that out and see what people are thinking.
Board member reports. No. I think we've all had pretty boring years. Okay, superintendent's report.
Trying to remember, there's something else that I wanted to include in this. It's not coming to mind. First off, wanted to update the board on, you're aware that there was the survey crew messed up a little bit when they were here. And so the engineer got the wrong information and he designed a flat foundation for the new classroom, and the hill drops off in the back corner. So when we went to build, we couldn't build according to plans. So it caused us a 2-month delay and increased costs on the foundation. Those increased costs on the foundation, though, would have been there if it had been designed according to the actual slope on the ground, if the survey crew hadn't messed up their survey. So those costs at this point, the contract was $900,000 for the classroom. Those costs have now accumulated. There was the main thing was that part of the expected cost overruns were the modifications that we didn't know what they would be, that DSA would require for the restrooms. But we expected some costs there. When you combine all that together, the cost overruns are running right around 96,000. So because it's over 10% of the contract, working with the attorney to bring back a resolution for consideration for the board at the next meeting to authorize the more than 10% overage. But not the fault of the builder, right? It's the fault of the engineer and the survey crew. So if they had surveyed it properly, it would have cost more of the foundation because that corner drops off. They had to put in a retaining wall and they installed what they called the Great Wall of China because it's way overbuilt. I mean, you could build a 3-story building on that practically. So that's that. So you can look forward to that coming back next month. And then
Scott,
go ahead.
before, so the engineering crew takes no responsibility for this?
Not to this point. The
Shouldn't they?
engineers are part of the architectural firm. They're a subsidiary of them. And if we wanted to do something about that, it would be best to do it at the conclusion of the project rather than get stuck in the middle of the project in some sort of litigation with the architectural firm. Yeah, and because it's technically the mistake only led to the contractor underbidding, basically. We would have incurred that expense anyway. The thing that it really cost us was a 2-month delay because we had to go back through DSA. That was the main part of it. So yeah.
On that also, how's the time frame looking then?
Time frame, we're going to be wrapping up in April. So yeah, we're getting close. And it's really come together nice. And the design that you guys approved that we did where we have the partitions that pull across the room is going to give this school a lot of flexibility moving forward to meet the needs for students. It'll be a really good thing, I think. The other thing is there was a couple last minute changes. We updated the attachments for the new phone system. And that appears later on the agenda. So I can talk about that a little bit at that point. I believe it's a separate action item.
Yep.
And also on the agenda tonight is the contract to approve for the county. So get that done and the board can start moving towards hiring a new superintendent. That's all I have.
All right, interdistrict transfers. So those in the packet. Need to talk about?
Yeah, they were attached.
Yep.
So we're good. Move on to consent agenda. Anybody want to pull anything from there? Or are we good? Movement.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Trustee Wright. Trustee Brunel. Trustee Dial.
Aye.
Trustee Schuler.
Aye.
Trustee Castillo.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to the action session. Everybody get a chance to see the donations? Movement to approve those. Anybody want to talk about it?
I'll make a motion to approve the donations that were listed.
All right, I'll second.
Trustee Dial.
Aye.
Trustee Brunel. Trustee Castillo.
Aye.
Trustee Schuler.
Aye.
Trustee Wright.
That brings us to the second interim.
All right, so as always, I think the most relevant page is the multi-year projection page that shows what we can expect in the out years. It gives us the longest term look. It's about page 7 or so. And it's called Cayucos Elementary Multi-Year Projection. So when we did the plan or set up the planned deficit spending that we were going to do to build the classroom, I estimated to the board that we would end the fiscal year with a minimum of a 7% reserve. This second interim proves that as an accurate estimate. Not only did we come in at over 7%, we came in at 10%. So good news on the budget at our second interim look. I'm sorry, it's this page. You guys are looking for it? It's this one right here. It's like page 7. Yep, there it is right there. Yep.
Okay.
And so you can see at the bottom in 21-22, we will end the year at 10%. 22-23 estimated 12%, and 23-24 estimated 12%. And this includes all the money being spent to build the classroom. So everything's kind of coming together just like we planned. And I'm really pleased that as I exit the district, even though we just did all this planned deficit spending and will be at one of our lower reserves since I arrived in district, leaving the district still in good financial shape. So I really feel good about that. And I'm happy to answer any questions if the trustees have any questions. The other thing that's usually of interest is what our tax increase is over previous year. And 2 pages later, you can see that in 21-22, 5.37% tax base increase. So Cayucos continues to move forward at a higher tax base increase annually. And I think just about anywhere in the county, frankly, significantly higher, about 1% higher than Cambria comes in annually. Not really sure about San Luis Coastal. So the tax base continues to grow, which is good news for the district. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any questions.
Any questions? Want to make a motion to?
I make a motion, we accept the second interim financial report.
I'll second that.
Trustee Schuler,
Aye.
trustee Wright, trustee Brownell, trustee Castillo,
Aye.
trustee Guile.
Aye.
Okay, our next item is review and approve the contract with the San Luis Obispo County Office of Education to conduct a superintendent recruitment. We discussed this in closed session last time, and does anybody have any questions or anything they would like to say about this item?
Yeah, I think that a couple of board members ought to be part of the screening process at some level. So I did not see anything about our participation in the contract. So I kind of wondered about how the board felt about that. And I know I would like to participate in that. And if we could add that as a, part of the contract. Or I don't know.
I don't know if it needs to be part of it. I
The
think
board can just request to the county that it include up to 2 trustees during paper screening.
customer's always right thing.
Anyway, just whatever the rest of the board is. Another trustee would like to participate. So maybe Val and I would participate in the paper screening process.
Okay.
That okay with everybody?
Yep.
Okay, so then, motion to approve, we'll get you guys on board.
Make a motion, we approve the contract with San Luis Obispo Office of Education. Superintendent recruitment.
Well said, I'll second that.
Trustee Brownell,
Aye.
trustee Guile,
Aye.
trustee Schuler,
Aye.
trustee Castillo,
Aye.
trustee Wright.
And approve, next, 9.4, review, approve the audit report for fiscal 2021, 2021.
Normally you would see this in January. The audit firms though are all behind schedule. So Ide Bailey asked me to file an extension with the county. So I did file an extension with the county that gives us till the end of March to get the audit in and send it to them. So we are meeting the statutory deadlines because we filed for the extension. However, it is coming in late this year. And that's because Ide Bailey was backed up due to COVID stuff. There's a lot of extra accounting going on with all the COVID money flying around. So this audit report is for last fiscal year. Ultimately, you know, they dig into everything and they look at everything. And what really matters is the schedule of findings at the end of the book, because that's where they would tell you if they found anything wrong. And you'll notice that there is none reported. It's all blank. There were no audit findings reported. Want to say thank you to Melanie and thank you to Rebecca, because the plan that the three of us put in place and executed and made sure we were documenting what we needed to document on the money we were spending is all in order. And so it's a good audit report. And it's exactly what we want, no findings.
And then our last item is the.
We need to vote, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Motion to approve the.
I'll make a motion, we approve the audit report for fiscal year 2020, 2021.
Trustee Wright, trustee Guile,
Aye.
trustee Castillo,
Aye.
trustee Brownell,
Aye.
trustee Schuler,
Aye. Okay, that brings us to, all right. 9.5, review, approve the Voice 101 phone system quote.
So we have a very old phone system here at Cayucos Elementary School. Sean's been keeping it running for us over time. Occasionally, I think with a little outside help, but you know, he's done a great job limping it along. He was gracious enough to kind of run point on upgrading the phone system. So shopped around a little bit and went and visited San Miguel, I believe, and saw their phone system and collaborated with the county. And this was the recommendation that came back from him and Liz to install a VoIP system, voice over IP system, and get away from our old phone system. Can't even buy the phones that work for our system anymore. So we've been lucky and fortunate that we've gone this far without having to invest in a new system. There is some upfront cost, but as far as the monthlies, it's going to be similar to what we pay AT&T now. So no significant increase in cost on the monthly. The attachments got swapped out and we ended up, Liz, correct me if I'm wrong, but we ended up with the one without integrating to the Bell system. Right. So I think the one attached now is 6,000 and change or something. So I'd recommend that, you know, thanks to Sean's willingness to run point on this. This is a bargain for the district compared to bringing in an outside consultant and them putting a new phone system in for us. So I'd recommend that the board approve this and we could get a new phone system in place in the next few months.
Does the phone get used a lot on campus? Yeah, yeah, it does. Okay, all right. We just put a new phone system in where I am and nobody's been using it, but I talked to some people up in certain areas. Some people are using it a lot, so I just wanted to see how often. I guess it probably goes department by department or school by school. Okay. All right. Okay. I think just everybody in my department just uses their own cell phones and just forget about the whole school thing. So, but I'm just curious to see how it worked and how much that was. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Trustee Brunel,
Aye.
trustee Schuler,
Aye.
trustee Dial,
Aye.
trustee Castillo,
Aye.
trustee Wright.
Do we have anything to review on the action
I don't think so.
calendar?
Other than I will follow up with the County Office of Ed regarding timeline and make sure that gets out to you guys ASAP.
Okay.
Can I answer, is it Curry?
Pretty.
Curdy, Mr. Curdy? Okay, I'd like to answer the question. You asked about who came up with the idea to give Scott a raise, the superintendent a raise. I did
Okay,
at the November, and it was brought up to my attention that we had an agreement with Cambria. So we're required, according to the agreement, to conference with them to let them know what we're doing because it was changing the way that contract was reading.
okay.
And so Chris had to go up and meet with them, let them know what we're considering. But I'm the one who brought up, I thought he should get the raise.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so all the other stuff, academic.
Well,
Just
not necessarily.
Well, for what you were saying about Chris is, because I was the one who brought it up and he was required to go up there and talk to them, let them know what we were considering and how it would impact the contract.
But did he have authority to get into any kind of numbers or anything like that?
Well, I brought it up. I'm telling you, I'm the one who brought it up.
Numbers?
Yeah, I'm the one, I brought it up.
So you recommend $20,000?
No, the 20 is because they paid 10, we paid 10.
I
I
realize.
only deal with our district. I don't deal with Cambridge's district.
So you offered.
I
10,000.
started the conversation. Yes. I'm just letting you know, I'm the one. So that's it. And he's required to go up and let them know what we were considering.
Okay.
And I'm not here to have a discussion. I'm here to answer your question. I answered it. That's it.
Well, I have another question.
Well, that's fine, but
I appreciate the answer.
we're not having public comment now.
I appreciate the answer, but in the press, unless it was misquoted, President Schuler said he didn't know where the 20,000 came from.
We know where ours came from. We don't deal with Cambridge except as an agreement.
I think President Schuler was referring to the $20,000 in total raise.
If it was reported in the press, I have no idea how accurate things are, so. That's all.
Not very accurate.
I appreciate
Thank
the additional information, but it still doesn't change my mind about you.
Oh, I know that, but I want you to know the truth.
Okay. We should be going back to the closed session. Do we have anything to go back in closed session for?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Then anybody want to make a movement to adjourn the meeting?
Adjourn the meeting?